Economies of scale refers to the fall in average cost of production in long run period of time. अगर हम अपना आउटपुट बढ़ाते हैं और आउटपुट बढ़ाने की वजह से हमारी पर यूनिट कॉस्ट यानी एवरेज कॉस्ट रिड्यूस होती है तो उसको हम इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल का नाम देते हैं. इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल आर डिवाइडेड इनटू टू टाइप्स. द वन इज internal economies of scale and the other one is external economies of scale. Internal economies of scale refer to the situation or phenomena when average cost falls with the rise in output due to expansion of the firm itself. Suppose we increase the scale of production of our own business, our own firm, and if it leads to fall in average cost of production, then this scenario is called internal economies of scale. अगर हमारी firm के अपने बढ़ने की वजह से हमारी average cost कम होती है तो उसे internal economies कहेंगे. And on the other hand, external economies of scale also results in fall in average cost but due to the expansion of entire industry. So firm and industry are two different things. Firm mean a single business unit and industry mean the sum of all firms which are producing similar type of goods in the industry. For example, if we consider the example of Beacon House School, Beacon House School is a firm, but if we consider all type of schools which are operating in Pakistan or in the world, that is overall education industry. For example, if average cost of production of Beacon House falls because it opens up a new branch or it extends the existing branch and it leads to fall in its average cost of production, then it will be internal economy of scale for Beacon House School. But if now coming to the different examples of internal economies of scale, internal economies of scale include financial economies. First example is financial economies of scale. Financial economies of scale is a situation when business can obtain loans from financial institutions at low rate of interest. Whenever a firm expands and becomes large, it has greater financial worth, and financial institutions, including banks, consider such organizations more trustworthy and they have more credit worthiness, means they can repay loans easily to the banks. So banks offer them loans at attractive terms and low rate of interest. When a business, a firm gets loan at low rate of interest being a cost of production, a cost of overall firm, if interest cost reduces, then average cost will overall cost will also reduce. The second situation is marketing economies. When business becomes large, it advertises its products at large scale. So it uses different media like electronic media, it may use social media, it may use print media. So it would be utilizing many media for advertising its products. So when it advertises at large scale, advertising agencies find such business very profitable for them and they offer attractive rates and they offer them discounts. So when a business gets discounts on its advertisement, it will again lead to fall in its average cost of production. The next is purchasing economies of scale. Purchasing mean when we purchase something from someone, if we get better trade discounts, if we get that product from low rates or low prices, that low price will also help us to reduce our overall cost of production. Large firms, being large in size, generally buy raw material from the suppliers at large scale, and sometimes they purchase finished goods, usable products at very low prices. We generally use the term mountain bottom prices. It leads to fall in average cost of production. For example, in Pakistan, we can consider the example of Metro Cash and Carry. Metro Cash and Carry is the biggest store in Pakistan which supplies multiple products and it stores and keeps huge amount of stock. So manufacturers generally provide them products at very low prices, at mountain bottom prices, and most of the time they also supply the product at their own cost to the stores. So all of these will result in lower average cost of the cost for the firm. So purchasing economies is when we purchase raw material or finished goods from the supplier in bulk. They generally provide better trade discounts, and it leads to fall in overall cost, average cost of production. Then the next point is technical economies of scale. A large business, being large in size, can afford better machinery and technology, which is cost effective, which reduces wastage of resources and leads to quick production and fast production, and it also leads to fall in average cost. Then is managerial economies of scale. Managerial economies of scale means when large business can afford better machines, better technology, it can also afford better staff as well. So it will hire specialist buyers, specialist sellers, and specialist staff, which is cost effective. Then is network externalities. Network externalities mean when business becomes large, it results in a snowball effect. Snowball effect means when there are a lot of customers for a certain firm, then automatically further customers are created and they are added to the list. आप लोगों ने देखा होगा, जैसे अगर Amazon से आप products कभी खरीदते हैं तो Amazon need not to advertise its website. Everyone knows about Amazon. So many new customers are automatically added to the list. So whenever a firm becomes large, expands its business to a large scale, then automatically new customers are added without advertisement. So network externalities are achieved. So they need not to advertisement. Cost is like Amazon, you can see Daraz, Alibaba. These are the basically businesses which are not advertising even their products because everyone knows about them and they are just added to the list. So advertisement cost is saved. So overall cost is saved by the firm. The last internal economy of scale is risk-bearing economies. When business expands, it generally diversifies. It produces multiple type of goods. Instead of just focusing on one product, they produce multiple products, and it reduces their average cost of production and it reduces their risk of loss. For example, in Pakistan, you might know Fauji Fertilizer Company, you might know Anglo Fertilizer Company. These companies have diversified. They are not just producing fertilizers now. They are contributing in power production. They are also producing fertilizer. They are also producing many food products. अगर आप लोगों को पता हो, ये जो हम ऑलपर्स का दूध इस्तेमाल करते हैं, ये ऑलपर्स का दूध बेसिकली एंग्रो फर्टिलाइजर कंपनी बनाती है. इसी तरह से आप ऑलपर्स की जो आइसक्रीम लेते हैं और ओमोर की जो आइसक्रीम आप लेते हैं और बहुत सारी फूड आइटम्स हैं जो कि एंग्रो फर्टिलाइजर कंपनी बना रही है. सेम इज द केस विद फौजी फर्टिलाइजर कंपनी, which is involved in the production of urea, which is also involved in the production of DAP. It generates power. It produces electricity through wind power project. They have erected a huge plant in Sindh region, and Fauji Fertilizer Company has many food products with the name Fauji, and every product which you basically see in the market that is named as Fauji, like Fauji porridge और भी बहुत सारी food products हैं इनके. And similarly, Fauji Fertilizer Company has its own bank as well, that is Askri Bank. So one company has diversified in multiple products and services. So if there is chance of loss in production of one good, that is automatically cross subsidized or compensated with the profit of another firm. For example, if at one time banking service declines and they face loss in their banking service, they earn profit from their fertilizer, they earn profit from their food products, they earn profit from their power sector. So when they diversify, being large in size, they reduce their risk of loss and they reduce their average cost of production. Now coming to the second type of economies of scale, that is external economies of scale. It happens when one firm is able to produce at low average cost of production due to the expansion of entire industry. And the first benefit is skilled labor. Like when overall industry expands, firms can get skilled labor which is already trained. For example, if there was a single school in Pakistan that was like Beacon House School in Islamabad, let's say if we go many years back, we suppose there was only Beacon House School, and now many other schools have entered the industry, and what those schools will do, they will hire workers. If any school is able to attract skilled teacher from Beacon House who is already trained and hires them, then it will lead to fall in its cost of training. So overall average cost for that new school will fall. Cooperation, when similar firms are located to each other, they definitely compete with each other, but at the time of need they also cooperate with each other, and it also reduces their average cost of production. इसकी एग्जांपल हम ले लेते हैं कॉपरेशन की. कॉपरेशन में किस तरह से होता है, लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल इफ देयर आर मेनी मोबाइल सेलर्स इन अ सर्टेन मार्केट, right? And if one customer comes to one mobile shop and asks for a certain mobile phone, but he does not has it, so what he will do is he will ask the customer, wait for a minute sir, and he may move to another shop. He himself will go to another shop and pick the mobile phone and offer that mobile phone to the customer. So this is how they can cooperate with each other. Ancillary firms are the small helping. Ancillary mean helping firms. Auxiliary firm, we also call them auxiliary firms. Ancillary firms are small helping firms which set up their business with large organization. For example, in case of car manufacturing industry, if a small car part producer set up his business with large car manufacturing company, then it will benefit both the large manufacturing company as well as the small car part producers. Similarly, if a tire producer set up his business with the large car manufacturing company, again the large car manufacturing company can easily get tires from that small firm. So both of them will benefit from each other. Then is research and development, and whenever a new industry is established and it expands, it becomes large, many universities, public and private universities, start research and development departments for that relevant field. For example, in 2000, when computer education was introduced in Pakistan, many new universities opened their research labs to basically facilitate customers. Similarly, when new industry or in the initial industry or existing industry expands, universities and colleges basically open up their research institutions, and they train new workers, they train new students to fit them for the new industry. So what happens when overall industry expands, new research and development institutions are set up which train and educate new students to fit for the new university. It again helps the industry because it will be able to get relevant workforce. When students are graduated from university, they will automatically fit to the new field, and it will reduce average cost for the firm. Infrastructure and transport facilities. When overall industry expands, infrastructure is developed by the government. For example, if new business or new factory is set up outskirt of the town, government will have to basically provide infrastructure or network of roads till that industry or that factory. So it will again improve infrastructure and transportation services. So when infrastructure and transport services are improved, they reduce cost of delivering the goods and time of delivering the goods. So it again reduces overall cost of production. For example, if we have to transport goods from Islamabad to let's say we have to transport goods to Karachi, if we have good network of roads, the same consignment can reach Islamabad to Karachi, let's say in 10 hours. Infrastructure was not available, let's say proper infrastructure was not available, then what may have happened, the same consignment may have reached Karachi in, let's say, instead of 10 hours, it may have reached in 20 hours. If one vehicle keeps running for 20 hours, its cost will definitely rise. Time as well as cost of fuel, both are increasing, and labor cost is also increasing. If this time is reduced to 10 hours, then definitely 50% cost is automatically saved. So it will lead to fall in average cost. This economies of scale, sometimes what happens when we produce goods and services, it is not necessary that average cost will always fall. It may rise as well. Whenever average cost of production increases, we call it diseconomies of scale. And when some business may increase its own setup and its average cost increases, that is called internal diseconomies of scale. And average cost increases due to the expansion of entire industry, that is called external economies of scale. So internal economies of scale refers to the rise in average cost of production due to the expansion of firm itself, and external economies of scale refers to increase in average cost of production due to expansion of the entire industry. So what are the examples for internal and external economies of scale? First of all, poor communication is an internal economy of scale. When One business expands and it becomes large and it has many departments, and there is poor communication between the departments. One department may not be effectively able to communicate its message to the other department, then message is definitely distorted and communication gap is created. When there is communication gap departments, then definitely it may lead to high average cost for the business. For example, if a marketing department is planning to advertise its business, right, it has basically made a plan of advertising by spending 1 million rupees, for example, and it has planned without proper communication with finance department. What will happen if finance department refuses to offer the amount of money they are asking for? Then it means overall planning will be a failure. So it is an example for poor communication which has resulted in wastage of time and money. There was a lack of communication. Then is lack of motivation. When business becomes large, when business expands and becomes large, it may lead to loss of motivation because leaders and managers may not be able to communicate properly with every worker, and they may not be able to keep in touch with every worker and motivate and inspire them. So it may lead to fall in motivation, and loss of motivation will definitely lead to wastage of resources. And when workers are not motivated or they are less motivated, then average cost for the firm will rise. And then is lack of coordination. Again, this point can be connected with poor communication. And for the success of every business, it is necessary that every department and every worker must be well coordinated in the same line. For example, if a manager has to set up a goal and he wants to achieve that goal through his workforce, then every worker must be well coordinated and they must perform their duties on time, and they must submit their task to the other worker on time and in accordance with the objective of the business. If they don't do this, then it will create lack of coordination, and whenever there is lack of coordination, overall cost of production for the firm may rise. And then is external economies of scale. Lack of skilled labor is first point for this diseconomies of scale. In previous topic, we discussed that uh, in case of external economies of scale, we have seen that whenever overall industry expands, workers are easily available. Skilled labor is available because people keep shifting from one firm to another firm, and another firm which hires the skilled labor is basically benefited. But in this situation, we have a point that lack of skilled labor, so it generally contradicts with that point, and it may create misconception in your mind. But keep in mind, you have to explain and justify this point as per this scenario, and you have to justify that point in that scenario. अब यहाँ पे हम देखते हैं कि स्किल्ड लेबर की कैसे हमारे पास कमी हो जाएगी. When there are so many firms abruptly enter the industry, overall industry expands, then labor force cannot be automatically and quickly increased. So the existing firm may face lack of skilled labor because its labor may shift from their firm to another firm, and it will again keep searching for the new workforce, and it creates lack of skilled labor for them. उसके बाद next point हमारे पास है high rental cost. When similar firms are entering the industry and they are very large in numbers, so what will happen? The similar kind of buildings, rental buildings would not be easily available. When demand for rental buildings will increase, then definitely it will lead to higher cost of production because existing firms may have to pay high rent as compared to the past. And then the last thing is greater traffic. Whenever overall industry expands, many vehicles come to the road and it increases traffic on the road, and when traffic increases, definitely it leads to higher transportation cost for the business. And the next thing is minimum efficient scale. Is when average cost reaches the minimum level and it cannot further fall and it stops falling. That situation is called minimum efficient scale. We also call this point as reserve capacity. One important note is that returns to scale versus economies of scale, अगर हम इनको देखें, do they contradict with each other? So they don't. Sometimes again examiner asks about it. Returns to scale and economies of scale don't contradict with each other. They rather support each other and they implement each other. Difference between these two is returns to scale are achieved in shortened period of time and economies of scale are achieved in long run period of time. This is the difference between two, however they complement each other. Okay, अगर हम अपनी इस सारी डिस्कशन को सम अप करना चाहें तो our discussion can be summed up with a graph. We have output or quantity on x and we have cost on y-axis. Whenever we draw graph for economies of scale, so long run average cost will look like this. In case of economies of scale, this is economies of scale, and in case of minimum efficient scale, long run average cost will look like this is minimum efficient scale. Talk about diseconomies of scale, then long run average cost will look like this, and this is because of diseconomies of scale. And if we sum up all these three segments, we will get average cost falling initially and then horizontal, and then it would be rising. And this segment is because of economies of scale, and this segment is because of minimum efficient scale, and this segment is because of diseconomies of scale.